Welcome all. I thought I'd go ahead and go through some points and talk to you a little bit about the shakedown period and what we've learned. Putting 2,500 miles on this Super C, and when we picked it up, we ended up doing 2,500 miles, and I'm going to kind of highlight all the problems that we had. And I'm going to give you some recommendations, and I'm also going to cover some items to look for if you're new to the RV industry. So stay tuned.
Roll through life. Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let it take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
So I thought I'd kind of start on the outside first. I'm going to walk around the outside, and then we're going to go in onto the inside, and I'll kind of show you some of the stuff that was, came from the factory, not working properly. So, so far, Thor has been very responsive, but there are a few things that I learned when it comes to getting these items fixed, if they're not fixed before you leave the dealership. So here we go. So as we're walking down, pretty much so far everything along this end was fine. We ended up having problems when it comes to how things connected. I mean, you can kind of see right here, there's a huge gap. There's a huge gap here, and then as it gets down here, it doesn't quite look right. This side is not as bad, but one of the problems that we've noticed is as we drive, this side will end up pulling out. So you can kind of see it'll be like that. So it kind of, as the motorhome twists, some of these doors kind of pop out a little bit. We haven't had one pop open yet while we're driving, but it's something that we're going to have Thor look at. Another issue that we ended up finding, and you wouldn't know this until after you get off of the lot, is what we have is an outdoor kitchen, and this sink, there's actually a pump that sends water into the gray tank. Well, there's a check valve right there. I don't know if you can see it. There must be something wrong with the check valve, because if we have water in the gray tank, when we stop after we drive, this tank is full of gray water. So water is escaping from the gray tank, and it's filling this up after we get done with our commute. So let's see, on this end, don't think that we really had any problems. Oh, well, you know what? We did have a problem. So if you look at the black and gray, well, guess what? The sensors are mixed up on this. And again, you won't really know this until you use it for a little bit. But so as a gray fails on the inside, it shows that the black tank is filling up. So that's something Thor has to fix. Oh, and actually I had forgotten, there were some other issues that we ended up having with the tires. So now with this model, surprisingly, I couldn't find, but there might be, there's no pressure monitoring system on the inside. So I got a third-party system right here. It's a little bit hard. I guess the outer tire has the valve sticking in, so I haven't gotten the pressure monitor on that. But what we ended up, we ended up having a whole bunch of issues with the tire. When it came from Indiana, we had a blowout, or the dealer had a blowout. They had numerous issues, and they actually said the axle wasn't aligned right. So the inner tire blew, and it ripped apart I think it ripped apart the inside here. But as you can see, the dealer fixed it. So just make sure, you know, monitor the pressure on the tires. In the end, they actually said that one of the problems was the valve stem was leaking, but I'm not sure that that's the true story of that, because I can't imagine that that would cause a blowout. But anyway, that's what the guys said. Okay, we're now on the inside, so I'll kind of go through some of the other issues that we found during the shakedown period. So something for you guys to kind of keep track of. I know everyone's going to have different problems, but these are just some things to look for. So, of course, even though we have an ice maker, there's no water getting to it, so it's not working. And this is, I'm guessing that they had to take the fridge out. One thing that our one thing that our RV inspector missed is there was a big crack. I believe it was up here. So they actually had to get a new, completely new fridge. So even though you pay for an inspector, it doesn't mean he's going to catch everything. So if you're looking to tap, this is the Firefly system. If you're looking to tap it into your phone, that wasn't working either. The dealership kind of said, I don't know what to tell you, you're kind of screwed. But I got on the phone with the manufacturer. They were actually really nice. They helped me figure out the problem. So when I went over here to settings and I clicked mobile app, this screen didn't appear. There was some sort of screen that said, there was a screen that said this service is not available. So in the Magnitudes, and I'm guessing in other systems that are using this same system, if you look under the bed, so here's the mess of wires. There's a little adapter right here. I don't know if you can see, there's a little green light on right there, but there wasn't power making it to this. So, and this is the box that handles the Bluetooth. So after I jiggled the wires, it all connected. So one of the first things that we noticed, and we ended up we stayed one night at the dealership. It's a good thing that we did. We really should have stayed 2 nights, because I think it almost takes 2 nights to figure out what all the problems are. But if you look down here, and again, I'm a little dark, you can kind of see these caps here. These are water lines kind of coming in. We had so many leaks the first night that we were here. The whole floor was flooded. So, and of course the dealership was closed. So I had to sit there and I tracked down all the leaks. So we figured out real quickly that a lot of the plumbing wasn't tight. So in this, not only the water lines, but also if you look under the sink, and I've heard a lot of people mention this, these black lines right here, they were all falling apart. You could touch them and they would just all fall apart. So I spent it was trial and error to get it not to leak. One of the most frustrating things, again, we were on the road for 2 weeks after we picked it up, was, you'd sleep and you'd hear the water pump turn on the nights that we forgot to turn it off. That means, I knew that meant that we had a leak somewhere. Couldn't find it. So that worried me. It wasn't under the bed. So in this model, there's a space for a washer dryer, and we just put a used one in. But over here in the corner where the washer dryer prep was, it was leaking. They didn't tighten it, and you had to get screwdrivers and pull everything apart and get in there and tighten down the PEX connections. So what it ended up doing was it ended up leaking so bad that it dripped all the way down and was coming out the bottom of the slide on the outside. So you could see all the water kind of dripping down. So another issue, and they actually never were able to fix this, was I think a lot of these TVs, so there's a TV here, there's a TV at the front, and there's a TV outside. Well, they have an HDMI splitter box that runs HDMI. I guess there's HDMI wires that run. So this back TV never was able to connect to the splitter box. So someone at Thor didn't connect something right, or the wire got cut. the solution that the dealer did was kind of this is some sort of broadcaster. So it's like a wireless broadcaster that takes information from the HDMI splitter box that is located right here. Sorry, right here. So there's something wrong with some of the wires that lead to that back bedroom. So the dealership gave me this, and of course it doesn't work worth a damn. So I have to figure out kind of a good solution for how to deal with that. Something else for your newbies, and I didn't know this, is that when you go to a campground and they offer cable and you plug it up, what you need to do is you need to go to your TV, and under the menu there's an area for source, and under source you change it from like an air cable, you change it to cable, and then you have to scan it. Then underneath it, and I'll try to show you this, underneath it you say, you know, search for channels, and it kind of goes through and it finds all the channels for you. This will not work if you have this turned on. So this up here is actually the antenna for television, and so it's some sort of power antenna, and if it's turned on when you're connected to cable, it screws up all the cable stations. So you need to turn it off when you come into a campground that uses where you're going to use cable. So anyway, that's what we figured out. It took a little bit of time to figure that out. So one of the other things I kind of want to point out, when we ended up going to Illinois and we picked it, and it was super cold. It was 18 degrees and super windy. We spent Thanksgiving there. There were the wind, it was like 20 miles an hour, and then the pipes on the slide, they all froze. Everything, all the hot water, everything that essentially from the kitchen, any water line, I figured on the kitchen and probably all the way out back to the washer dryer, it got frozen because it just got so cold. And even though online there were a lot of people that say this doesn't do good in extreme cold, it actually did better than we thought. So we had 2 space heaters, one of it was one radiant heater, and of course we had the furnace. So everything did pretty good. But what I figured out what you needed to do is during those cold nights is just leaving this open, like some of the folks say that, you know, you just leave the cabinet doors open. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't doing it. It was too cold. So we ended up sticking a heater back here and actually closing the door. And it got really hot back there. It melted all the ice, frozen lines, and everything worked well. So if you're going to be sleeping where it's super cold, something to do is to stick a heater underneath the in the actual kitchen cabinet area where all your water lines come in, and I think you'll end up being, you know, happy that you did that. So one of the things that I also wanted to talk to you about is a warranty work from Thor. I was originally told that I could get work done at any Thor authorized dealer, and that's not true. I called some of the dealers around me that sell Thor, and they said no, since I didn't buy the actual unit from them, they're not going to service it. So Thor said that I can go to any other local RV repair shop, and that they'll cover the cost. Actually, I have to pay first, and Thor will reimburse me. The only problem with that is that I actually, I have to get estimates on all the work, and then Thor will authorize it. So I think it can be kind of a slow approach. I'll keep you guys updated on how this repair work goes. But by all means, try to get all these items taken care of when you're actually at the dealership before you pick it up. One of the other things I forgot to mention, and you should probably pick up a tester yourself, is that the turn on the back of these RVs, you have a 4 and 7 pin plug for turn signals if you're towing a trailer or transporting a car. Ours, it was messed up, and I forgot to get him to take care of it. So I might have to take it to a Ford dealership. So get a little tester, get a little turn signal tester. I think they're a couple dollars on Amazon, and test it to see if that helps. Well, I hope this video was helpful. I know I kind of put it together quick because we're getting ready to hit the road. We're going another 2,000 to 3,000 miles. We're going to go down to Florida and maybe hit some other places on the way down. I'm going to post more videos of our trip and activities, so please subscribe, keep up to date with us, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll fill you in on the items that I learned in dealing with this Thor Magnitude. So thanks.